Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche pregame show presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR when you sign up for a new account to get amazing odds boosts every single day. Rudo, AJ, Blaze coming to you live before the Avs take on the Chicago Blackhawks back home at Ball Arena. Obviously, the major note of the day, Cale Makar out today.
Bummer.
Just some soreness. He took part in morning skate, stopped halfway through, talked to the trainers. Bednar says it's just day-to-day. It's not serious, so nothing too big of a deal there. Nothing to really worry about. Look, it's the Chicago Blackhawks. You should beat them anyway, right?
Yep.
So don't overly think about Cale Makar being out. Put it that way, too.
Yeah, I mean, going from Cale Makar to Curtis McDermott in your defense is
obviously a major downgrade, but
you're also playing a ghost of a team as well.
yeah.
kind of.
Actively trying to lose hockey team, at least in the front office.
I mean, they're right in that sweet spot. They're in the bottom three, excuse me.
you know,
They want to stay there.
and move downward if they can.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, well, in 2-7-1 in their last 10.
So, yeah.
So they've responded by the removal of Domi and Kane and Lafferty and McCabe.
Just a few pieces.
Yeah. Like all their best players are gone.
Taves also not playing,
Yeah.
as we know. But
So you are talking about, hey, the front office has done its part, and now the guys on the ice are doing their part. But the one thing about these teams, though, is that there is a freedom there. It's a bunch of young guys playing for jobs. There's almost very little consequence to them losing games. It's not a bunch of miserable veterans who have been there and done that and walked the walk and actually achieved something.
Right.
You know, it's just a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
And so that's like the one thing that you're like, hey, true, nothing to lose. Like they could be doing anything. You could talk yourselves into them being dangerous on any
they
given
could
night.
play a little YOLO, and if they end up down 3, they don't care.
Exactly. And, you know, you just catch them on a day where everything kind of clicks for them.
Yep.
You know, they can go out and win a hockey game on you.
Well,
You just, if you're Colorado, you just can't let that happen.
I mean, let me ask you this from the Avs side. Then, this is a team who you could make an argument their last game against Chicago was a turning point in their season. Is there a little bit of something in the back of the Avs head that say, "Hey, we lost the last one of these guys. Let's not do that again"?
There should be.
I don't know if that's there, but I think you're starting to look forward into what's coming up here very shortly, and you want to get into that. We're not going to take anyone lightly. We're not going to take any games off right now because we're getting into that final stretch. We got to get to that final form of what the Avs are going to be competitive when the playoffs start.
Also, you have the great 4-0 road trip. You've won 5 hockey games in a row.
Yep.
You've put yourself back in position to seriously contend for a division title,
Yep.
maybe even the top seed out west. You look at the schedule coming up.
It's pretty easy.
In the next 8 days, you go Chicago, Pittsburgh, Arizona, Anaheim.
And Pittsburgh is a hot mess right now.
Yeah, they can't get a stop.
Yeah.
So the most competitive game on that schedule, 1, is going to be at home, and 2, against a team that is badly struggling with its own form right now. Yeah. So you're looking at the upcoming schedule, and you can say, I'm sorry, but if you lose more than one of those, it's a major disappointment. And to be honest with you, if you get through that Pittsburgh game,
I don't know, man.
you
Arizona's
should not be
been playing
losing
well.
them. Yeah, I understand. But Arizona playing well and mullet magic, I'm sorry, but if you're a team that thinks it's going to win a Stanley Cup, you don't give a shit about any of that.
Yeah.
And a team that's supposed to be gearing up for that, a team that is still playing for something, is still chasing down home ice. They have a lot of work to do.
Yep.
Even if they get ahead, they don't have any separation. They need these points. They need these points.
It's crazy how the West, though, has also, like, you saw it in the East where everyone was just, like, right there next to each other. And now you're starting to see some separation there. And then now the West,
Has clumped.
it's all starting to
Yep.
clump up to where it's like you don't know who's going to come out of this race at the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, on any given day, 3 different Pacific teams are either in second place in the division, hosting the first round, or they are getting ready for opening the first round on the road against the team that wins the Central Division.
My
Like, they are There are stakes every night out west
You're
right
seeing
now.
my percentage to win the Central videos are fluctuating like 10% every day based on the results. So
You know what the one thing's not fluctuating? The weirdness of them.
at least I'm consistent somehow.
I stopped watching them for my own sanity's sake.
They're fun.
I feel like at the end of the year you should go and put them all together.
I had thought about doing like a supercut.
Yeah, and it'll just be like watching Alice in Wonderland.
Well, we were talking about like how is he going to wrap this all up to like make a story, or is it just going to be like Lost, where it's just like it was all a dream, or you know,
You were in purgatory the whole
purgatory.
time.
Yeah.
Getting into the actual players in this game, first of all, Andreas Englund versus Jack Johnson battle commence. Is today the day Jack Johnson proves it, that he's the better defenseman?
This is the proving ground where you see who won the trade right now. Is that what you're saying?
I'll just say that if I'm Andreas Englund, I'm amped up for this game.
Oh hell yeah!
I'm amped up. Like he worked really hard. He gave them some pretty solid hockey. Got moved for a seventh guy and was like,
Yeah.
like, hey, he should be happy that he's in the NHL every night. He's getting to play. He's getting to do his thing. But also, like, for me, I'd be going out there being like, goddamn right, I'm going to smoke Nathan MacKinnon if I can. Like, I'd be amped up if I were him.
Yeah.
The more interesting defenseman on the Avs side, with Cale Makar out of the game, Bowen Byram getting PP one time. I put it out on Twitter. On a per-game rate, Byram, one of the top 10 goal scorers of all defensemen in the league. Is he for real? Is he here? Is it the Bo show forever? Can he stay healthy and do it?
It's been for real when he's been healthy for the last 2 years.
You're right.
Look
Like-
at him in the playoffs last
Yeah,
year.
he was great.
He was a stud. It is just that health factor, right? Like, can you stay healthy?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I hope he can, because I literally don't know what you do against the Avs defense with him and Makar in it.
Yeah.
Like, every shift you're looking up and going, oh, God.
Oh, yeah. England is hurt. Great.
Nah, great. Perfect.
Calculated. Coward.
Are we here with this, though? Is Byram the number 2 on this team? I get
No.
they like putting Makar and Taves together. I understand mechanically.
He's not.
It's still Taves to
Yep.
you? Okay.
Yeah,
From
because
a defensive side, right?
it's certainly from a defensive side.
Yeah.
Because if you go and you break down where Byram is still struggling the most, he hemorrhages scoring chances like a madman, and that comes with the variance of a game of a young player's game.
Sure.
Especially defensively. Now, offensively, on any given shift, the guy goes and does great things, and I think you see a pretty consistent level of confidence from Byram now.
Yeah.
But defensively, he's still riding that roller coaster a lot more than I expected he would this year. But when he missed so much time, like
Yeah.
these are all the growing pains we thought he was going to have in November and December, and then would start smoothing out and ramping up, kind of like he did last year, where overall, like it just kind of was an upward trajectory the more he played. Still looking for that this year, but defensively, he just has not gotten there yet. No.
I mean, and that's been since the start of his career, right? Like, he's always had some weird positioning issues on defense. Like, you've always seen the offensive talent that he's had. Mm-hmm. So it's just one of those things. And I think that's something that you just see from younger defensemen. Like, it's one of those learned things once you get into the NHL, because the game speed's so much different than that other levels, that it takes a different style, if you will, than what you've been used to playing, like growing up playing against.
And when you're so dynamic with the puck and you're so good reading the play like he was, anybody that watched him a lot in the WHL knows that he didn't spend very much time in his own zone.
Yeah.
So there wasn't a lot of learning the in zone defense portion of the game at lower levels, where he was mastering all the other aspects of the game, and you see those parts of his game have translated nicely to the NHL. The in zone defense still is there is a lot of variance there. When he's great, he's awesome.
Yeah.
He's great, and he takes over games. When he's having a tough day, the other teams are still eating him up, especially good teams.
Yeah.
They eat him up, and that's where it hasn't happened yet. I mean,
It's coming.
Yeah, if you could give him the 30 games or whatever that he missed,
Yeah.
you would feel like that's probably what he needed.
Yeah.
So it would really be wonderful if he could continue to stay healthy and develop that aspect of his game. You know, he is only just now hitting around 100 games played if you count the postseason.
Yep.
In his NHL career.
Yep.
He's been around for 3 seasons,
Very,
so it
very
just
low.
feels like
Yeah.
you know, like it really is surprising how little he's actually gotten to play on the ice and develop. But the offensive side of it, I keep holding out hope he's going to push that 30-point mark. He keeps getting power play one time. He really might actually, because the guy has been wildly productive this year on a point per game basis.
Yep. The other side of this is the scoring of the Avs overall. I think we've seen at times this year, you know, earlier in the year, they were winning games 1-0 against some of the New York teams.
Yep.
They were even more recently, the Chicago game before, they lose that 3-2. Over this last stretch, we've seen the Avs put up 4, 5, 6, 8 against Montreal. I get that's not a very good team, but what changed for Colorado's offense? Is it just puck go net now, or what?
Well, the number one thing is Nathan MacKinnon started scoring goals specifically. His assist rate hasn't dropped; it's remained elite.
Just still also putting
but
the puck in the net.
then he
now?
also has been scoring almost every game for weeks now. And
Yeah.
so when you're just like, well, it went from him assisting on 1 or 2 goals every game to him assisting on 1 or 2 goals every game and then also scoring every game. They're like, that's one of them right there, because you're getting that on a regular basis. He's giving you that.
You also have the secondary scoring picking up. You have other people contributing, where at the beginning of the year it was like you were living and dying by that top line. I mean, this is some of the stuff that you want to see as you're starting to get late into the season. So
Yeah.
all good for the Avs.
It's certainly fantastic. To
Also,
watch,
their power play may not be scoring at an elite
but
percentage,
it's scoring at enough of
but
a rate.
it's scoring more nights than it's not.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty good recipe. And your penalty kill has locked in.
Yep.
So you're winning special teams. You're winning 5v5. That's a pretty good recipe for just winning hockey games.
Take it where you can get it.
Right now, it's everywhere.
You're not wrong. Not just the forwards, but the defense too. Pretty regularly contributing. Not.
I mean, 3 to 5 points a night,
Yeah.
you're going to win hockey games.
Yep.
Yep. So you keep riding it. Hopefully they can keep it up. Obviously, you know, you're not going to score 8 goals a night, but
Not even score 5.
not really. Yeah. So got to continue to find it from those places, though, whether it be MacKinnon, Mulligan, Eller, you name it.
Yeah. I mean, and what's been nice is that it has been a little bit different. You know, Mulligan's giving you a couple goals.
Yep.
Eller has 2 goals in his last 2 games. Evan Rodriguez is starting to
Getting
show up.
involved
JT
again.
Compher has a couple of assists.
Yep.
Like, you've started to get that like, hey, every game there's another guy giving you at least one of those goals. It's super important. They need it.
It is.
That's like the thing that makes you not Edmonton.
That and you have Alexander Georgiev in net.
Wow. No love for Jack Campbell.
No.
No,
Yeah,
not a
he
good
sucks.
goalie. He was the answer, though.
Look, I do think Georgiev does play an important part in this stretch run. You're going to see a whole lot of him. He's played really, really well. Hard to nitpick that guy very much right now.
Yep.
So, ride him, get what you can out of him, go win the Central Division, basically.
Yep.
Yeah, this Gerard is not pulling Bo down at all. That pairing has been really good together for the most part.
It was really bad the other night, but that happens.
Byram got better as the game went on. Gerard didn't,
Yep.
and they ended up moving Byram around, and he had success elsewhere.
Yep.
That's not the norm over the last few weeks. With their top 4 all healthy together, those top 4 defensemen been healthy together. That just hasn't been the case.
Okay. Blaze, you're back in the building. You've got some bets for us.
Oh, I got some bets.
What do we have up
I'm
here?
taking all the easy ones.
Impossible value tonight
Yeah,
with
there's no-
Avs and Blackhawks.
It's so hard. Like looking around, you can find some stuff if you want to like really risk it. But
Throw your money
Come
away.
on, Miko.
Yeah,
I mean, he's gonna blow past the 50 goal mark.
I hope so.
I mean, a hat trick tonight Just
Get
say
him
him
to
hat trick
49.
tonight, puts him at 49.
Yep. Mac anytime goal, sure. The way that he's been scoring.
Borderline
And
automatic.
I think
lately.
I think the Avs can get there by themselves with over 6.
Just score 6 by themselves. Here for it.
I mean, it's an AHL team. I'm
It's
sorry,
not a
like
good
we were
team.
talking, right? Like,
It's not a
how
good
many of these guys on the Blackhawks are going to be in the NHL next year?
Like without cheating,
Well, they can't overhaul the entire roster.
if
It's
Chad
going to be close.
A couple.
without going and looking it up, I'm curious how many players Chat could name on Chicago. I'm sure they could get Seth Jones. I'm sure they could get Andreas Englund. How many more players currently in the lineup for Chicago could Chat actually name?
I have paid zero attention to them.
Yeah.
So I have no idea what's going on with injuries. I have no idea what's going on with any of the other stuff they've got going on. So I'm not sure how well I would do in that right now.
Blaze and I looked it up before the show. You could name some of their defensemen.
Yeah.
Their forward core is rough.
Is Reichel still up?
I don't think so.
He's the one I wanted to watch.
I didn't see him, but it was a precursor against a cap friendly, so I could have missed him.
Is Mrazek in net? I mean, we don't have any idea.
I'm assuming it's Mrazek, but I didn't actually check their starter.
Yeah.
Connor Murphy is one of the defensemen. Yes.
I have completely ignored the existence of the Blackhawks this year.
Yeah,
Yeah, Radish.
Tyler Johnson and Taylor Radish. Yeah.
Radish
You
is a NHL
spelled
player.
Radish wrong, but good try.
But yeah, you got it.
Do they have
Close
Boris
enough.
Kachuk still?
Yep.
I don't
Yeah, they
know.
do.
I had to have to go look again. That's how
Cool.
quickly I forgot these guys' names. Domi went to Dallas, so
Domi does Dallas.
Anthony Sio's in there. That's another one of the actual names. But you get into their middle 6, bottom 6 forwards, and it's like, oh, okay. These are some dudes.
Yeah, you gotta have been a little bit of a prospect nerd to know who a guy like Mackenzie Entwistle is.
Good name though.
Yeah, great name. He's like 17 feet tall.
Anyway, if you want to, I actually wonder how many of the Chicago players DraftKings you can actually bet on individual goals for. It's probably not that many of them.
Yeah.
You can go over there. I saw someone in the chat said Jack Johnson plus 1,900 to score if you want to take a crazy one. Whatever you bet on, use the DNVR code when you go
Plus
to DraftKings.
1900 is just not good enough odds for
It
that.
should be like plus 5,000 for that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1900 should be a point.
When you go over to DraftKings, you must be 21 or older, Colorado only. Other terms, restrictions, and conditions apply. See the show notes down below for details. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. All right, we got a watch along coming your way. So any final thoughts from you two before we kick it out of here?
I feel like I'm the dissenting opinion that I don't think this will be a blowout.
Oh, yeah? You think it'll
Yeah.
be close?
I do.
Oh yeah, we'll disagree there and say this is going to be an absolute blowout.
I don't care how.
I'm just saying, coming off a 4-game road trip out
get
east,
it.
there's always a letdown first game back home. If it was almost anybody else other than Chicago, I would pick the Avs to
But
lose
is it
this
really
game.
a home game when half the crowd or more than half the crowd are wearing Blackhawk jerseys?
Are those people really going to pay to show up with the possibility that their team does get their head kicked in again and that they've
Chicago shows up.
Yeah, those dudes have never heard of any of the guys who are playing on the
Look,
ice.
the Nuggets
like-
just lost to Chicago, so like we can't go 0-2 against them, right?
Look,
like the Bulls.
I don't care the result. Avs just got to get the dub.
Yeah, same. I mean, I would really like a regulation win.
Yep.
I'm like obsessed with the tiebreaker this year.
You are.
Pretty
You're-
sure Chicago's probably good with a regulation win from the Avs too.
I'm only obsessed with it because the Avs don't have it in their favor, and so that means they got to be a point better than everybody.
All right.
No
here's-
tying.
Here's what you do: you take an L, then you reverse it, and then you put it together and tilt it. It's a
Yikes.
W. We do have plenty more coverage for you. Watch along coming up. If that's not your thing, post game afterward where we break down whatever goes on. We appreciate all of y'all, and we will talk to you in a little bit.